is having a notable impact on the world's financial markets, but it's also affecting the environment.
Is the unfathomable amount of electricity those massive supercomputers suck up for their mining.
Huge motivation if you're a Bitcoin miner to burn an awful lot of electricity, and that's the problem.
The amount of energy that's consumed in processing those transactions is staggering.
Carbon emissions from all that fake mining has grown by some 40 million tons, or the equivalent of 8.9 million cars.
What if I told you Bitcoin, the industry, the network, what it brings as a store of value, is the best thing that could happen to the environment? Unfortunately, the mainstream narrative has been Bitcoin is destroying the environment. They're trying to discount Bitcoin by pulling on your environmental heartstrings. What I can tell you is this is an uneducated pitch. And it's no surprise because it's the same people who telling you not to do your own research on other important topics in today's world. My name's Darren, and to be honest, I don't really want to give this argument the time of day. Facts will always rise to the top, and it's hard to escape reality. I might just be wasting my breath because Bitcoin is going to show the world how it can make it a better place. However, it's a conversation that needs to be had. Those who are searching for this information, this could be you, are currently getting these as top results. So it's time to change this narrative. In this video, we're going to cover Bitcoin's energy consumption numbers, why that is not a bad thing, and how it can be a tool that prevents overconsumption, which has led to pollution around the world. So Bitcoin accounts for 0.27% of the world's energy consumption. Now, how does it do this? Well, it is because of proof of work. In order for the network to run, computers work on finding the target hash of the latest transaction block. Miners test unique values called the nonce until the problem is solved. All transactions in that latest block can now be confirmed and communicated to the rest of the network that all of the transactions that happened in the last 10 minutes are now valid and set in stone. It's really an arms race of computers trying to get more hashes in a short amount of time. They have evolved to become highly specialized computers that need a constant, strong source of energy to run. This is necessary for the security of the network, as the only way to tamper the blockchain is to go back and redo all of those problems that have come before it. Every other attempt to create a decentralized money, a people's money that has not been proof of work, has failed to this point. That is because it is easily manipulated, because it has one center of control. Now, in order to have a money that has no emperor, that has no way of changing it, this is the best way we have found to do this. First thing you have to understand is that energy is not correlated to pollution. The amount of energy we use is actually correlated to prosperity of humanity and all other living things. The world today is abundant with energy from wind, solar, natural gas, hydroelectricity, nuclear power. We have many ways to create energy that have a low impact for the environment. What looks bad is that Bitcoin uses 7 times more energy than Google, more energy than the entire country of Denmark. However, something like air conditioning just in America uses more electricity than all of the Bitcoin network. Video games as an industry, the banking industry, all use more energy than the Bitcoin network itself. The Bitcoin network just happens to be transparent and very easy to calculate the amount of energy use. Kind of why it's become such a mainstream topic. Your average SJW can just easily compute these numbers for their local liberal publication. But what about something more complex, like an X-ray machine? It'd be hard to quantify how much energy X-ray machines use from all of the different hospitals, clinics around the world. One, it's hard to compute how much energy it uses. And two, we have to question how much of a positive impact using that energy for X-ray machines have had an impact on humanity. Energy use is really all subjective. Who's to say air conditioning in America hasn't made the world a better place? We now have the ability to populate and live in more areas. We can keep hospitals running year-round. We can deliver food to individuals that have not had access to it previously. Now, we also need to understand why the Bitcoin network would also be a positive for humanity, and why hundreds of thousands of people think the same thing. Bitcoin is a serious alternative to our current financial system that we have today. Money is many characteristics, but one thing it has is a store of value. Your hard work that you put in, you like to save that value that you created for the future. And Bitcoin saves that value across space and time. It is non-discriminatory. Anybody can join it. It has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. It is nonpartisan, meaning there is not one person or a group that can control its rule set or its supply. Anyone around the world can verify every single transaction that has happened through history. All of these reasons, Bitcoin is called a hard money, a worthy asset to store and transfer your value. Our current financial system is quite the opposite. You may have heard of the term fiat money. Our money used to be backed by 1 ounce of gold. Today, the dollar is backed by nothing more than debt or IOUs. Today, we have nations that control the money supply, and over the last 2 years have printed more than 1/4 of all dollars in existence. You may have seen inflation hitting you personally, but I'll give you a hint. It's not the items in your grocery cart that are getting that much better. It is your money getting that much less purchasing power. This leads to a society that has a low time preference. When money is deteriorating, societies binge on consumption. You need to spend money now because it is so abundant and worth more today than it will be in the future. This leads to the draining of our resources. So we can drain all of the ocean's life, deforest, suck up all the resources, all because it is so cheap to do so today without the consequences of losing your wealth in the future. For example, in the 1970s, the USA convinced Saudi Arabia to price all of their oil in US dollars. In return, the Saudis would receive military protection and conveniently became the country that the US did not invade in the Middle East over the last 50 years. So the rest of the world would need American dollars to purchase oil from them. So these other countries would have to take on debt with America. Quickly, the US began to print more and more money. The consequences of inflation would hit those countries who borrowed first. Dollars became cheaper and cheaper to borrow. As we can see today, interest rates have become negative or basically free. The USA literally printed money for the world to consume oil that created pollution and emissions that caused many of the environmental problems we're facing today. All this US had to do with this newly printed money was create a super military power to protect this scheme that they had going on. So they created a military today that is responsible for 97% of America's fuel consumption. Think about that next time your local political leader blames you for driving down the highway to go camping with your family for all of the environmental problems we're facing. This has created a society where businesses, high net worth individuals are more worried about being close to that money printer, that cheap interest rate, than actually serving their customers or having values in their business. A great example of this is Brussels Airlines. They kept 3,000 flights taking off and landing with 0 passengers during COVID. This is all just to keep the lights on and their company in existence. This would have not been possible without the government bailouts and the money printing they received, which they used to waste on jet fuel. In a truly capitalist society with a hard money, it would not be a worthy investment to throw away money that's going to be more valuable in the future for a negative economic value today. What we have today is a socialist system that prints money for zombie companies just to keep them running that use our precious resources. Besides bringing a high time preference to the world, which over time will help our environmental issues, Bitcoin is actually helping to fight climate change by reducing emissions. ExxonMobil just recently announced that they are mining Bitcoin to cut their emissions. This works because natural gas facilities, when they have excess energy and no market for that energy, must release that energy into the atmosphere, and this is called flare gas. In the Bitcoin mining world, your variables to be profitable are your hardware, your cost, and your reliability of energy. Mining Bitcoin can use this flare gas energy because it is cheap and reliable, taking what would just previously be burned in the atmosphere to have a reduced effect on CO2 emissions. Today, Bitcoin's energy consumption is actually made up of 78% renewable resources. Bitcoin miners are incentivized to find the cheapest, easiest energy available. Energy from solar, wind, hydro, terrestrial heat are available in abundance across the world. There's still a ways to go physics-wise for renewable resources. The sun only shines 12 hours a day. Wind doesn't blow 24/7, 365. So those new expensive mining machines must go for reliable energy such as nuclear, gas, or hydro to be profitable, which still could have an environmental impact. But with the portability of mining equipment, an individual or company with older hardware can go looking for that untapped renewable resource to compete in the industry. If we can create a global monetary system that transfers value and property across space and time, that is finally fair, non-discriminatory and fully transparent. We can end unnecessary energy use for consumption that will lead to a better, cleaner, more sustainable environment. I hope this changed your opinion on Bitcoin's energy use and the positivity it can bring for humanity and the globe. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I want to hear your opinions, what I got wrong, just what other people are thinking. If you like this video, I have other videos on inflation, how to use Bitcoin, what it is, how you can get started. So you can check out all of those on my channel, and thanks for watching.